Well, guys, today we're taking a look at how to set up your new laptop. In this one, I'm going to show you some of the things that I like to do with setting up a new laptop once I've purchased it. And this is going to be for any particular type of laptop, notebook, or any of those. You can use these methods to make your laptop experience a lot better for you. So this is what we've got here. The first thing I like to do first is to go into Windows updates, and I like to make sure that I've got all of the latest updates for that laptop. This is sometimes because laptops can lie dormant in a box for quite a while on a shelf, and it's important that you update all of the security updates for that laptop. Sometimes there's feature updates for that laptop as well, which you can take a look at whether you want to roll those out for that particular laptop. I like to normally update the whole of the laptop, whether it be feature updates and security updates, when I first get it. I like to head over to the manufacturer's website and download all of the drivers, because these could be way outdated if that laptop has been sitting around in a box in a warehouse somewhere. I like to update all of the drivers. I also like to check the BIOS to make sure we've got the latest BIOS for that particular laptop to make sure we have no problems. Once the laptop is fully updated, we can then move on to optimizing it the way we like. But before we continue, let me just have a quick word from today's video sponsor, CD Key Sales. If you're looking for a cheap Windows 10 Pro or a cheap Windows 11 Pro OEM key, check out the links in the video description, and these will lead you to the CD Key Sales website, where you can create an account and then you can click Buy Now and add my promo code capital B capital R 09 and apply this to your order and get a 30% discount on all your purchases. I'll leave all that information in the video description for you. Once that's done, you'll be able to head over to the Activation Center and be able to activate your version of Windows. Anyway, next up, what we're going to do here is we're going to be moving on to the accounts section of Windows. Now, by default, you will probably have a Microsoft account logged into, and you will see your account details up here with your name and your email address. If you don't mind that, then that's fine. I prefer to use a local account where I'm not signed into Microsoft, and that's what I prefer to use on my laptop. But if you want to have your Microsoft account here, you can do. It doesn't mean you can't log into a Microsoft account when you've got a local account. You can log in at any time and then log out when you're done. Next up, I like to use Bulk Crap Uninstaller. This is a uninstaller which you can use. You can use Revo Uninstaller or Geek Uninstaller or any of those. Basically, what this is going to allow you to do is remove all of the bloat that comes pre-installed on your system. Stuff like your antivirus, which is normally McAfee, which is going to be a trial version. And there's going to be a bunch of other stuff on here that you're probably going to want to uninstall. Maybe some applications that come pre-installed. So you can set this up. It's pretty straightforward. Just go through the motions and check mark what you want. And if you want to see check mark boxes, you can check mark this. And what it's going to allow you to do is put check marks into programs that you want to uninstall from that laptop. It's very simple and easy to do. It does have, on the bottom right hand side, you can see the color legend there, which tells you whether it's a verified certification or whether it's unverified certification, unregistered application, and Windows Store apps or missing uninstaller and things like that. So it will tell you in the list what you've actually got and whether you can uninstall it, whether it's protected or whether it's not protected. You can check it and just put the check marks in the stuff that you want to remove. You can see here Cortana is not protected, and it will allow you to remove it. And there's a bunch of other stuff on here which you can go through and uninstall. Now, if you're using a different type of laptop, sometimes the manufacturer will bloat it out with all of their software. And if you're not going to use it, then just uninstall it. Be careful, because some of their software is quite useful for the laptops that you're purchasing, like Lenovo and Asus. They have their own software which is quite useful to have on the system. You can see here this does have McAfee pre-installed, which only has a trial, 13-day trial. And this can be problematic because after 13 days, you're not going to get any more updates and you could fall foul to malware and other things. So I like to uninstall all of that bloat from the computer. So push the check marks into whatever you want to uninstall and then go ahead and remove it. Now, there's quite a few different laptops with different types of bloat that has stuff on here that you might want to remove. So everyone has their own preferences, and you can remove other stuff like Microsoft People and other things like Microsoft Tips, Microsoft To Do, and other things like that which aren't protected, which allow you to uninstall them from the laptop. You can see here OneDrive. If you're not going to use it and it comes pre-installed, you can uninstall these, no problem at all, and it should be easy to remove from here. So I'm going to go ahead and uninstall all of this stuff and check mark everything that I want to remove from here. And then we can move on to the next phase of this uninstallation. Now you can see NVIDIA comes with a ton of stuff on the system. If you've got AMD as well, they probably have loads of different stuff on their drivers. You can reduce that by using another method. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but basically once you confirm everything is okay, you can uninstall it by just clicking on the continue here. It's going to say some apps might need to be closed before you can uninstall them, and you'll just use the kill all. So once it does this, the list will come up and just kill those services. You can see ASUS does have their own programs on here, which I'm going to leave on the system. I'm not going to remove those from here, but they will need to have their processes killed so I can actually uninstall some of these applications. Now, if you've never used a bulk uninstaller before, it's quite a powerful tool, and it allows you to remove a lot of hard to remove applications as well. Some that leave remnants left behind, which can obviously slow down the system. You can see here we can disable the protection here and put check marks in whatever you need to do here. And I'm not going to check mark the simulate uninstallation. I'm going to leave that off and then click continue here. And it's going to say we're ready to remove all of the stuff now. You see 12 gigs of programs that have been installed on this system. So I'm going to click on begin uninstallation, and this will then start the process. And the good thing about this program, it also creates a restore point. So if anything goes wrong, you can always roll back to that restore point before you started removing all of the stuff. I'm going to remove all of the Office 365 and all the Office applications that come pre-installed, because these are not full software. We just want to remove all of this from the computer, because if I need to use any of these applications, I can go ahead and get my account and sign in and then download and install the full program rather than using the ones that they've come pre-installed on the system. Now, McAfee is another problematic program which can be difficult to uninstall. I'm just going to go ahead and check mark all of this stuff and remove all of the program and all of the remnants that's left behind. But bulk uninstaller will literally find a lot of this stuff and remove it. I want to show you that bit in a second. Now, once it's uninstalled all of the software, it's going to do a scan or ask you, do you want to do a scan for leftovers? These are all the leftover parts that are left inside the registry. When I click close, you can see here, do you want to look for leftovers from performed uninstallation? So I'm going to go ahead and let that do a search of my registry, and you can see it's found a bunch of stuff which was all related to the stuff that I've just uninstalled. So go through here with a fine tooth comb and just remove anything. It just should say good here. Any ones that are unchecked, you can check them, and I can see there's a lot of McAfee stuff that needs to be checked. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and let the program remove all of that leftovers. Let's move on to the start menu here. You can see these little applications. They're not actually installed, some of these, until you click on them like this. But you can uninstall them, and there is scripts out there that you can use and programs that will remove all of this for you, and bulk uninstaller will remove these as well if you want to. But what we're going to do here is you can use the right click and uninstall method if you want to do it manually yourself, and you can just go through and remove all of the junk that you don't want to use on your system. It's quite simple and easy to do. Just go ahead and click on right click and uninstall and remove these. Once that's all done, you can then go into the apps, all apps section, and there'll be some stuff in there as well which you can use to remove from there as well. Just go through here. As you can see, there's some stuff in here that you can right click and uninstall. There's journal, and there's also mail. If you don't use the built-in mail tool, you can remove those maps and stuff like that. You can uninstall all of this. Again, there is loads of methods for doing this. You can do it either manually or use scripts or programs or whatever it is you want to do. But I'm just going to quickly go through here and move on to the next section. Okay, so I've removed everything from here now. I can still get a couple of other bits later on. But let me move on to the next bit here, which is going into Explorer here. And what I want to do is, first off, I want to go up to the three dots and go to Options. Inside here, you'll see there's an area inside here which I can make some changes to. So let me go ahead and do that. I want to change this one to Open File Explorer to this PC. And also you can see here in the privacy section, it says Show Recently Used Files. You can remove check marks from these if you want to. I'm not interested in that sort of stuff. You can clear it afterwards. And then once that's done, we can then move on to the View tab. And what we can do is just show hidden files, folders, and drive. I like to have the radio button in there. and I like to remove the check mark from hide extensions from known file types. Once that's done, we can apply these and click OK. That's now all done. There's also another area inside here that I want to take care of, which is inside your view area. If you go to view and then go down to where it says show, so you can see here, let me just show you the list here when I go to this PC, and inside here, you see how the big gap between these folders are. When you're on a laptop, you want to get as much real estate as possible. So I'm going to hit view and go to compact view, and this will squish them together. And you can make them bigger if you want to, those folders, if you can't see them, but it just takes away all the spaces and all the gaps. And that way, what that does is it just makes it a little bit more easier to fit things onto the screen. So you can see here, I've just made those a little bit bigger there. And what you can do also is remove those check marks. So let me just show you the check marks that I don't like, that some people like to use. You can see these little check boxes, the little white square boxes. If you want to remove those, just go down to where it says show here. And you should see right there where it says item check boxes. So I'm just going to take that out. I don't want that on there as well. And there we go. That's that done. So that's that section done. Let's move on to the next bit here, which is going to be privacy and security. Now, Windows comes packed with loads of settings in here that you can do without, and you have to go through here and remove them all manually, like inking and typing and things like that. Now, if you don't want to do all of this manually, there is scripts out there that will do this for you, but you can do it manually yourself. And if you don't want to download anything off the internet and run them on your PC, then just have to go through each one of these and turn all of this stuff off. You can see here, feedback frequency automatically recommended. We're going to put this to never. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here which you have to go through, and I'll show you these right now. Go through some of these. Now, these are all pretty self-explanatory. You just have to go through the whole list. It does take a bit of time, but just turn everything off, because I don't use anything in here apart from microphone and camera. That's all I use. Another thing I like changing is the screen scale. So let's go ahead and right click and go to display settings here. And inside here, you should see whatever your recommended is. Mine is 200% down here for the scale. And you can change this. And I normally knock this back just one, and this gives you a little bit more real estate on your laptop. So just take it back just one. You can see here, mine's going to be 175%. And see whether that's okay and whether you can handle the smaller size. You can see it makes everything smaller. If you don't, then you can always put it back. But I tend to use a smaller scale size, which makes it much more nicer and gives you a bit more real estate on the actual desktop itself of the laptop. Now, if you want to gain a little bit more resources back, you can use the Ultimate Windows Utility from Chris Titus Tech. It's a little script you can download from his site, copy the code, open up PowerShell as administrator, run it, and it will download it. As you can see here, it's going to ask you, do you want to install Chocolatey? I'm going to say yes here because it's useful for installing applications. But if you don't want Chocolatey, you don't have to. And once that's down, it should let you see the application. So let me go ahead and let this download and install onto the system. You should see a bunch of code going up on the screen. Now, like I said, if you don't want to use anything like this, you don't have to. But I'm going to be using it on here just to show you. But this is it right here. He's done quite a lot of hard work on this one, and it is quite useful. You can install a bunch of applications here. I'm just going to show you one. I'll just install Chrome just to show you. But you can install a lot of your software here, or you can do some of your tweaks. I'll do both of these just to show you. I'm going to do Chrome here first. Once you've selected what you want, there's a big massive list of software utilities and other things like that. And you can then go ahead and click on install, and it will install just whatever you've checkmarked there. So let's go ahead and click on install selected right here. And this will go ahead and download this and install it. You can see the blue bar at the top, that's downloading it from Google, and it will then go ahead and install that on our system. And it's silently installing that in the background, as you can see there. So once that's done, let's move on to the tweak section. Now there's some tweaks here for desktop, laptops, minimal, and other ones here. I'm just going to go for the laptop version here. Already check mark some of these. Run O&O shut-up, as you can see, and disable telemetry, disable Wi-Fi sense, and a bunch of other stuff which have got some security and privacy concerns here. You can remove Microsoft Edge. You can check mark a few others if you want. I'm going to leave this as default right here, and we'll just go ahead and run these tweaks for the laptop and I'll quickly run these and you'll see what it does. So let me just quickly show you the actual task manager here, so you can get an idea of the services that are running here, so you get an idea of what this is actually doing here. So when you go into here and look inside performance, you should see 245 processes running, which is pretty hefty, really, but that's a normal thing for Windows nowadays. And what we're going to do is we're done. We've run those, and it's now done all of those for us. We will need to run a restart on the system just to make sure that all of that stuff has been followed through. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's a couple of other things like config and updates, which you can run on this script as well. And I'll quickly show you that after I run this tweaks here. So let me go ahead and quickly run these. There we go. That's now done. Shouldn't take too long. It will create a restore point for us as well. So we've got a couple of restore points that have been done after all of the work we've done on this laptop. And once that's completed, we can then restart the system. But before I restart, let me just quickly let that finish, and we can take a look at config and updates before I restart the system. So inside config here, you can see there's some legacy Windows panels here, and there's some other stuff that you can mess around with here if you want to. I'm just going to leave this as is, but there is one thing I like to do, which is the power settings here. If you've got a laptop, it's important that you change all the power plans to the way you like, and that's something you can do inside here. Everyone's going to have their own preference to change their own power plan, turn off display and all that sort of stuff. Whether you want the laptop to shut down when you shut the lid down, you can set all that up inside the power plan here. And I'm not going to go through all of this in this one, but basically that's how you can set that up as well. You can get to that by typing in power plan inside the search there. But let's restart the system. I've done the restart now, and we can now check Task Manager here, so you can see the system processes should have been dropped dramatically by running that. You can see it's down to 150 now, which is quite low compared to what it was. And this is on a laptop, of course. So that's now done. And what we'll do next is we'll move on to some other stuff that we can do. And for me, that is to install a new start menu, which is Start 11. You can use Start All Back if you wish, but this will change that big, nasty start menu that you have on there for Windows 11. It's quite big, and on a laptop, it looks even worse. So if you want to change it, you can use something like this, which will give you a much more smaller start menu and make it much more usable, in my personal opinion. So let's go ahead, and what I'll do here is I'll quickly show you, and it looks much nicer there, a much smaller start menu. You can add your programs in there and all that stuff later on, but I just wanted to change this up. And it also changes the right-click context menu for us as well. But there's some other styles on here. I'm not going to go through all of the settings here. Just choose what you like if you want to use something like this. If you're happy with Microsoft's own menu, then by all means keep that, but I prefer to use something like this. And it's only something like £5 for this particular program, and they generally keep this updated quite well. And you've got the start button, taskbar, and it gives you a bunch of other features that you don't get inside Windows. So this is quite useful. Next up, you want to check your muck switch. If your laptop has a muck switch, you want to make sure that is set to the MS hybrid mode here. That means it will automatically change when you're doing something more intensive like gaming. It will automatically go to a discrete graphics if you have discrete graphics on your system, rather than running on graphics all the time where you don't need it. It does eat into your battery life. So if you want to conserve a bit of battery, make sure that's set to the hybrid setting. Also, let's go ahead and change this taskbar a little bit down here, the search box, and a bunch of stuff that I don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and make some changes here by just going to taskbar settings here. And inside here, we can remove that widget. So I don't need the widgets on here. And there's also some other bits that I don't need here. So I can hide that, or just put the little search icon there, which is much nicer. And we can then just remove some of the icons there, which I don't need. So I don't need the actual edge there because I'm using Google Chrome. And I can put all my programs in this little list here. I can just drag them in there and it will open up. I'll just be able to open these up, or I can just click on this one and click on all my applications. It looks so much more nicer for me, and it gives you access to all of the areas in here much quicker. Now, I know some people like to have desktop icons on their desktop, and if you want to do that in Windows 11, they've buried it to make it a bit more difficult to find, but I'll quickly show you how you can add those back onto your desktop if you want to. So let me just go ahead and right click on the desktop and go to personalize. Inside here, what we need to do here is we're going to go to where it says themes, and inside the themes area, there's going to be an area where we can make changes to it. Why they put it in themes, I do not know, but let me just show you where it is right inside here. So click on themes, and you should see it right here, desktop icon settings, right there. And they've buried it in there for some reason. It shouldn't be in there, but they have dumped it in there. But now you can check mark what you want to keep on your desktop, whether it be control panel, recycle bin, computer, or networking and things like that. Apply this and it should put them on there just like so. And you can change your theme color here as well if you want to, and all that sort of stuff. Mine's already done to a different type of color, and I've got a transparent bottom taskbar there as well. So let me come out of here now, and there's just one more thing to do, which is probably change the wallpaper on the laptop. So let's go ahead and do that. There is some other bits, which is some of the other settings, which I can go through later on and change, which I'll do off camera. But I've showed you pretty much everything that you can do here. And we've got the wallpaper changed now, and that looks a lot better. And there we are. That's it. And don't worry about the little bars at the end there. That's because the laptop screen is not 1920 by 1080. It's a different type of size screen. So you're going to have those bars there, and that's the reason why you've had blue bars all the way through the video. Anyway, with that said, my name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members. I really do appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the very next video. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll catch you on the Discord server if you're on there for a chat. Bye for now.